Hello, welcome back to Sabretooth at Nethemba, where we care about your security. My friend Rick has said that after I've done a few boxes classed as hard, including a buffer overflow and a medium in 20 minutes as a challenge from himself, I should try a listed easy box called Overpass. Apparently there's some things here which are quite basic, which I've not yet covered, and I probably should. He's also challenged me to do this without getting a reverse shell, so mini challenge on this one. There's no time limit on this one. So let's take a look at Overpass and we will see exactly what we're up against. Oh, there's Overpass 2 as well. Interesting. So let's try Overpass 1. He says it's fine for me to read the questions because there's no spoilers, so that's good. We're going to start the machine. What happens when a group of broke computer science students try to make a password manager? Oh, that's the other thing. He says, see if I can do this without actually accessing the password manager. So no access to the password manager and no reverse shell. So he's putting limitations on me, but I'm quite confident. Okay. There's a try, blah, blah, blah. Code is claimed. Okay. So we've got a hint, which we're definitely not allowed to use here. And all it says is get the user and the root. Let me turn that sound off because that's going to get very annoying. Do not disturb. There we go. Right. Let's make a start. That's definitely wrong. Let's open Cherry Tree. We've got Brain Pan, Internal, Daily Bugle. We have this medium here, Anonymous. So we have one in easy now called Overpass. Once again, we will probably need to get our useful stuff. So let's throw it in. Do you know what? Rather than doing this all the time, why don't I just have one subnode here just called useful stuff? And then I can just update it every time. You know, I can just update this every time. Let's connect to OpenVPN. Let's get our IP address, which ends in 10267, which is the same as this. Okay, so I'll just put this as current target because it's going to change every time, isn't it? And that's going to remain the same. So this makes more sense. Our current target, let's take a look. There we go. So our current target is actually this. Nice. I'll tell you what I'll do as well. We'll go into... No, I don't know. I won't do that. I was going to create I don't think I've got one already. Yeah, obviously I've not got one for Overpass. That's dumb that I was thinking I might have. Right. Where do we start? Nmap. Clear this. Let's actually full screen this. Let's throw a few of these open just so we've got something to work with. Nmap STVP. So that's TCP scan all 65,000 whatever ports, 300, 500, 35, 65,535. Yeah, ports have been scanned. As we can do nothing but wait right now, the good thing would be to try see if the website's up. Brilliant, website's up, so that gives us something whilst we are running this scan. Welcome to Overpass, a secure password manager, which apparently I'm not allowed to touch, with support for Windows, Linux, macOS, and more. People reuse the same password for multiple services. If you are one of them, you're risking your accounts being hacked by evil hackers. Okay. Password reuse may be a thing here. Overpass allows you to securely store different passwords for every service, protected using military-grade cryptography. Your passwords are never transmitted over the internet. Your passwords are protected and do not store your passwords. Okay. We've got an About Us. Number of people getting hacked because their passwords were in RockU. That might be a hint. I might need to crack a password here using the RockU word list. Okay, staff. We've got a few possible usernames here. I like that there's a chief drinking water coordinator and a emotional support animal manager. That's really, really funny. Okay, my eye is feeling very odd. Nmap is still running. Let's have a look in downloads. Okay, we've got the binaries of Overpass. So the thing about the... Is this going to be buffer overflow again? Huh. It's possible if this is running on the server somewhere. We've also got the source code of the build script. So I'll tell you what, we will actually download both of these. Come out of BrainPad and go into the new one, which is Overpass. And the build scripts as well. Okay, Golang. Oh dear. Okay, not a fan of Golang, to be honest. Don't know why I keep doing that. How long on this? 84% done. I'm not sure whether to hang on. Throw that in there. I think what I'll do is I'll run directory brute force as well. Why have we got... Oh yeah, HTTP. More like it. I think you'd be able to discern that, but no matter. Oh, it's taking ages. Okay. We should probably check the robots.txt and things. So here's a program which I've not used on here before, and I probably should. So we're going to do Nikto with the host. And this tells you things like if robots.txt exists and things. It shows you what headers there are, if there's anything uncommon here, whether there's debugging information available and stuff like this. So it gives you really important security things about the website as it's scanning. So Nikto is quite a good one to take a look at as well. We've got an about us and admin directory, a download. We know about downloads. Okay, we've got an admin directory. That's interesting. This is still taking forever. Okay, well, let's go there and take a look. Okay, nice. So we've got the admin login here. Admin. Nope. Admin password. Nope. Admin root. No. So, look. I've got a feeling that I need to use Hydra and brute force this because it's mentioned RockU, didn't it? So I don't really want to do another brute forcing one, I'll be honest with you. But let's look at the page source and see what we can find. Do you know what? I should probably be updating my notes, actually. There are source files to download on the web, port 80 on the web app. Derb shows that admin exists, which has admin login form. Right, so I'm just updating everything as we go. I reckon that Nikto should be able to find this admin as well. There we go, admin HTML, this might be interesting. Admin, this might be interesting. Downloads, this might be interesting. So it's finding all these things for us. Interesting that there's admin HTML as well. Let's just take a quick look at that. Okay, so at least the same place. Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's see how... Yeah, that's now scanning inside the directories. This must be nearly done now. It's taking forever. Look at this. It's gone from 31 to 39 seconds to 55 seconds remaining. Well, we'll just leave it. For now, at least I know there's a website. Now let's take a look at this source code. Let's see. So we've got username. Hang on a minute. Okay, username is the name of the username field, and password is the name of the password field. Who would have guessed? Login.js. Does JavaScript handle the login for this? That's odd. Let's take a look. Okay, well, it's quite short. This is all the post data. So we've got the methods and the headers and stuff like that. Form data, onload, login. So this is the login function. I'm going to make a note of this even before looking through it, because this is so unusual to have a login function in JavaScript, because obviously JavaScript can be read by anybody. So it's quite an insecure way to do login. So I'll have a look here. It's a bit easier on the eyes. So it selects the username, and that goes into the username box variable. Password goes into password box, and login status goes into there. So far so good. So you got credentials, username and password, which are sent to API/login. Status or cookie, await response. If status or cookie equals incorrect credentials, the login status says incorrect credentials, and the password box is cleared. Otherwise, what? Otherwise, it sets a cookie and allows access to admin. You're joking. Right. So if I do this, it says incorrect credentials. If it didn't say incorrect credentials, it would let me in. It can't be that. It really can't be that. Right, we're using Burp Suite. So what's going to happen is we'll proxy through Burp. The reason why I've already got Burp open is because I've started opening this before starting the boxes. The reason being that if I have to open Burp Suite, once I've started, it automatically pops up with all my project names and names of customers, and I legally cannot show you that, so I just get it open in advance. So if we do this, and we catch that request with Burp Suite, here's the request, username's admin and password is this. If I catch the response, oh, it's not catching the response. Okay, so we need to change our settings to capture the response. Request interception, intercept response, there we go. Nice. So let's do this again. So that's our go away. That's our request, forward. That's our response, it says it here, and it says incorrect credentials. So if we let that go, so let's do this again, and this time we're going to let the request go. We're going to catch the response, and this time, if it doesn't say incorrect credentials, and we now let it go. Okay, that is dumb. That is severely, no, that's backwards. That is completely crazy. And that allows us in. So all it does is check for incorrect credentials. And it said something about a cookie as well. Is it in cookie 2? Yeah, my value is in there as well. Okay. Fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my HTTP history. And this is the one that I edited, hence it says edited here. And that was the original response. And that is the edited response, right? So that I don't have to explain this too much in my notes, what I'm literally going to do is take a screenshot. And this is what I like about Cherry Tree. We can take a screenshot like this, a selection. We can grab that. And then rather having to save it as a picture file, we can copy to clipboard and literally just paste it straight in. Okay, nice. So code shows that if cookie or response contains incorrect credentials, then we are not permitted to progress, else it logs us as admin. So we edit the response, hence this, right? Nice. Yep. This shows. So we can just take a full copy of this page, which thankfully isn't too long. Lovely, lovely, lovely. We'll see what we've got in a minute. Let's just check on this, which is still it's 90% and it's still got a minute 20. I'm not sure what's going on with this today, but it's taken a while. That's fine. This is done. There's nothing else interesting that I can see here, so we can close that off. Nikto is done. So other than the debug verb, there's nothing really interesting here either, so we can close that off. Okay, I just paused for a second. Firstly, because my camera was playing up. Secondly, because my back is hurting. And thirdly, because I wanted to wait until this was done, but it's just going to take ages, so I'm not even going to bother waiting. We may as well just look at what we've got and see where to go from there. Welcome to the welcome to the Overpass admin area. Since you keep forgetting your password, James username, I've set up SSH keys for you. So even without this, we should be able to see that SSH may be running. SSH James at whatever the IP address is. Just grab it from here actually. Continue connecting, yes. James's password. We don't know that. So port 22 is up. This will eventually confirm after a year. If you forget the password for this, crack it yourself. Interesting. So the password is weak. It's basically saying that we can crack it. And it was also talking about RockU earlier, wasn't it? So there we go. I'm tired of fixing stuff for you. Yeah, tell me about it. Also, we really need to talk about this military grade encryption. Paradox, another username. We have a private SSH key. Now, public keys are publicly available. Private keys are private. Isn't that amazing? If we have a private key, it means we can use it to log into a system with SSH perhaps. So if we take this key, you know what I should probably do? Go into Overpass, we'll get rid of this, we'll get rid of this, and then I can open a few in this directory. There we go. That's more like it. So what we should do is create a new file called key.txt or whatever that goes in here, save. We should be able to use this to connect with SSH by going key.txt. It may be the wrong permissions. It says here that permission 664 is too open. So the way I would generally do it is I would change the mode of this file to 600, which is more restricted. And now if we try and do this again, there's no complaint. And here it says like the private key will be ignored, but this time it says enter the passphrase for the key. So SSH, there'll be a password to sign in, and the key, there's also a password, which we don't quite know yet. And because we can't log into the key, it's now asking for the regular SSH password, which it can't do either. We don't have that. So we need to crack the password for that key, really. Yeah, absolutely we do. So let's take a look. This is still going, 95%. At least it's going down now. 102, 113. Fine. So in order to, okay, notes first. We save this as key.text and use SSH to John to convert into a crackable hash. So SSH to John will convert it into a hash type which John the Ripper or Hashcat or something will be able to crack with the right word list. So we're looking for SSH to John. And we've got it a few times actually, but we'll use this one. It's a Python script. So we're going to run Python. We're going to run that on key. And you'll see that this is the hash which it can crack. So I can either copy that and paste it into a new, but that's too much of a faff. So what I'm going to do instead is run the same, but I'm going to output, I'm going to move the output into hash dot text. There we go. So now if we cat hash.text, you'll see here. Now, I do know that sometimes this at the beginning, this which it thinks is the username, could cause issues. So I'm going to remove that. I'm going to remove that just to be sure. I can always put it back in if I need to. Okay. So generally I use John the Ripper. As we know, we've done this a couple of times now, but let's use Hashcat instead. Hashcat is an interesting little app. So all it does, it takes some options and then the hash file and then the dictionary file. If we go to help, you'll see that it looks quite complex. This is all in the help file, right? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, one thing I'm going to do is pot file disable. So whenever it cracks something, it saves the password in what's known as a pot file. I never use the pot files basically because if I crack some passwords on a pen test for a customer, I'm generally not allowed to store things like that. So I always disable the pot file regardless of what I'm doing. It's just a good habit to get into for me. So I don't really want to run this without doing that. So what we're going to do is run hashcat. We're going to give it hash.text. We are going to give it a word list, which is at tools, word list, give it rock you. We're going to throw in a pot file disable, and hopefully it can auto detect this hash. If not, we need to manually tell it what to crack, but let's just see what happens here. There we go, it's cracked. It's done it. James 13. How simple is that? It's a lot easier than Hydra, isn't it? Hydra, nightmare. Hashcat, not so bad. So we actually have, do you know what, I should probably put the thing above as well. This command, just to show how we created the hash. There we go, that's it. So now we can hopefully use the key. This is ridiculous. Okay, let's clear that. Hang on. Whoa, stop. There we go. Let's log in using the key again with that. I want to go James 13. There we go. We actually have okay, copy all this. So we actually have access to the system before we've even finished the port scan. That is pretty special. Okay, good. And you see that I've also got our first flag and also the contents of this to-do.txt, which we have not read yet. So really, I could probably just kill the port scan at this point. 25 seconds, or so it says. Let's just leave it. Let's just leave it. What else is running? That's it. That's all that's running. Okay. So we have complaining that it's not strong enough for overpass encryption. Write down my password somewhere on a sticky note so I don't forget it. Yeah. Wait, we make a password manager. Why don't I just use that? Yeah. Okay, Rick has told me that I shouldn't use the password manager. It is the intended way, but there's other ways to do it. Also, I'm not allowed a reverse shell. That's interesting. I'm not sure why he said that. Test overpass for backup S. It builds fine. That's paradox. How we got the automated build script. Automated build script. Right, don't mind me. I'm just being ridiculous. So if there's an automated build script, this is going to be probably a cron job. Which runs every, what, minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. So let's figure out what version of Linux is running here, as in whether it's 32-bit or 64-bit. We're going to do that with uname A. We have a 64-bit Linux, as you can see here. So as we have a 64-bit Linux, we can use a program called PSPy or PSpy or PSspy. I don't know how it's meant to be pronounced, to be honest. I think it's PSspy, but it's only got one S in it. What we're going to do is head back out into previous scripts, and you'll see here, clear. We've got the 32-bit version and the 64-bit version. We've also got limpies, so we should probably upload both of these. Let's start a server. Python 3 http server. I've not even looked at those files I've downloaded yet, the build script or whatever it was. I should probably do that as well. I need to make a reminder of this. Hang on, let's just do it now. Cat build script. Okay, so that's basically building the source code into an exe, and it's building the source code into. Okay, well that's fine. And what was the other one? Overpass.go. Okay, this is entering passwords into the app. Okay, I'm not dealing with that because Rick said don't, so I'm not even going to look into that. I'm going to class that as cheating, I think. Okay, so we are running on port 8000. I should be able to wget http useful stuff, local IP. On port 8K, we're going to get PSPy 64. We're also going to get limpies. And we're going to make sure that both are executable. And so we're going to now run PSPy 64. So what this does, as things run, it basically shows you what's running and when. So at the minute, you can see there's nothing here. It's not showing anything at all. Okay, so that was probably this program starting up, to be fair. So if I wait here, and there is an automated build script running or whatever it is, we'll see it happen. I'm guessing it's going to happen at the minutes, so when we get to 13, perhaps. Who knows? Ah, absolutely. Yeah, excellent. Okay, so we'll grab this and then we can study it in a second. I want to leave this running in case it happens again in a minute's time. Upload limpies and PSPy 64 using wget. PSPy shows this. Okay. So I want to see if it happens again in 20 seconds, and then we can see what it's all about. I want to see if it's the same or if something's different about it. Or if it even happens at all, to be honest. So we've got 10 seconds to wait while we're doing that. Let's take a look at this. Oh my god, it's finished. Okay, we've only literally got the website and SSH. So all that was for something we already knew, but worth checking. Yeah, this is exactly the same thing. This is exactly the same. So it runs every minute. Okay, nice. Let's grab this slowest Nmap scan ever. I should use mass scan. It's a lot quicker. Tons quicker. I'll do that for next time, perhaps. Well, at least we've actually got a bit of space there for that. Okay, so far so good. So this runs every minute. Okay, let's see what this actually does. It opens a new shell and it uses curl to download. Okay, it's accessing overpass.thm/downloads source build script. Overpass.thm doesn't exist, does it? It doesn't. Because it was going to Google then. I don't want to look at Google in case it comes up with solutions or anything like that. Spoilers, right? So that must be like, you remember when we changed our host file so that it pointed to something else? Hang on, I've got a train going past. I think we did it for Daily Bugle. Let's have a look what we did on our own host file. Yeah, we've got internal. It was for internal, right? And so whenever we went to internal.thm, it took things from this IP address. Well, I'm guessing James is doing the same, right? So we'll kill PSPy. It's run a few times now. So if we cat the same file on James, we'll see that overpass.thm is this IP, which is localhost. Okay, interesting. Okay. Fine. I've got something in mind. If we can edit this so that overpass THM points somewhere else, it will try and grab the build script from a different location. I could check see if this file is writable. Normally it isn't, but I've got a feeling it might be for the purposes of this challenge. But the best way to figure out things like this is to use limpies, and it should tell us if that's the case. So I'm looking for the etc host file to be writable. That's the way I think this is going. But we'll soon see. In fact, I'm going right down the bottom because I know I know exactly where that would be if that's true. See, we've got that private SSH key there, right? Okay. Interesting writable files. Writable by everybody. Okay, it is writable. So literally we can just overwrite that file. Fine. So it is writable, which is very, very unusual because that's a system file and it shouldn't be. I'll just put according to limpies or limpies shows, right? So really all we have to do is, let's figure this out. We're going to edit the host file. And from now on, overpass.thm is actually going to try and take things from my IP instead. Copy that. So we edit the host file basically grab from our IP. Now, I didn't set the ports, did I? So it needs to be the regular web port, port 80, right? Hang on, bear with. Right, let's run this again on port 80, which I think needs sudo rights. Yeah, permission denied. Okay, so I've got a web server running on port 80, and already we can see it's trying to grab the build script from my IP address just as it hit the minute. So when it gets to 20 minutes in the bottom right down here, it will try and grab this again. I just want to just double check that's what's happening, because it says here, look, 1901. So when it gets to 2001, it should grab it again. 404 at the minute, because we've not got this directory structure set up, downloads, src, build script, right? But I just want to make sure that is exactly what's happening. Let's see what we have. We'll close that off. We're already in that one. I've got this. Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're good. So we've got 10 seconds from this point to wait. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And once again, it's trying to grab from here. So if it's looking for downloads, src, build script.sh, what we can do is make a new directory, downloads, make a new directory, src, and we can move build or copy build script into that directory. So now that location exists. We've got downloads, src, and build script.sh is in there, which means that this time, in 15 seconds or so, when it tries to grab this again, it won't be a 404 not found. It should be a 200 if it's able to. 200 is okay if it's able to grab from our server. Two, 1, 0. Good. So it's now grabbing build script from my server from the right location. What we then notice is, or what I noticed but didn't mention, is as soon as it grabs the file, it immediately runs it with bin.sh. It actually runs it into a bash script. So whatever code is in the file that it's grabbing will be run. And I can control now the code that's in that file. And therefore I can control whichever code will be run. Now the easiest thing to do from here, curse you Rick, would be to put a reverse shell into the build script so that once it's run, I get a connection back on port whatever, and we should get root access. But Rick challenged me to do it without a reverse shell. So let's find a different way of achieving roots. I'm going to make sure that SU works, which it seems to. I'm going to sneeze, excuse me. Oh dear, excuse me. And again, sneezes never come singular, do they? Oh, right, okay. So I think what we can do here... Right, I've got an idea. I know what I'm going to do. There are a few ways of doing this. I could create a file with a sticky bit to give me a new shell as root, or I could add myself to sudo as. So I've not even checked sudo, to be honest. Oh, I don't know the password, that's why. Okay, I could try changing James's password probably as root. I'm not sure if that's possible. But I think the way I'm going to try it is the etc password. So there's this file, right? There's two of them. There's password and there's shadow. This is the password file, readable by everybody. It has the root account. It has James's account. It also has a try-hack-me account. And then all the system things in between. There's also etc shadow, right? And shadow is not readable. Permission denied. It's only readable by root. The way this works is, this is the username, the X means there is no password here, so look in the shadow file to get my password hash. Okay. 00 is the group and user, or group and ID, or something like that. And then it's going to root, that's the directory you start in, and then bin bash is the shell that it runs. If we log in as James, this is user 1001 in groups. If I put here ID, you'll see that my group is 1001. Again, no password, and it goes to the home James directory when you first log in, right? So if I do print working directory, we're in home James. So that's how it works. Now, what we could do is overwrite this X with a password hash, and what will happen is that takes precedence over do you know what? I could just take, could just change James to the root user. I'll make a new user. Okay, so I'm just formulating this. I'm just planning this. I'm figuring out how I'm going to do it. So we create directory structure so that build script is taken from our local system. And just as proof of that, I'm just going to do, just do that. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to try and add, we'll attempt to add a new user, a new line to X password with root rights. Okay, the first thing we can do from here is we can take the legitimate root line here. We can't call it root because there's already a user called root, so we'll call it root 2 or root 1 or something, and this X needs to be like password here. So how do we generate the password? Well, what we can do is we can use OpenSSL, and then we put in password, and then we put in the password that we want, which is going to be, I'm going to put test, but I'll put moo, 1, 2, 3, 3 letters. And it gives me this hash, right? That is the hashed password that we need to use. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to put it in here. So this is the line we need to add. Okay. So in build script, what I'm going to do, because it's a bash script, I'm going to echo. First, let's just try this on a regular file, right? Let's create a file. If we cat that file that I've just created, it won't work. If we echo this line into, the reason why I'm doing 2 errors, that one puts it in the file and this one appends it to the end of the file. We don't want to overwrite the etc password. What we want to do instead is add to it. But I'm just going to try it on moo.txt to make sure it works. If I do that and then cat moo.txt, you'll see that my line is there. And if I run it again, it's not going to overwrite it, it's going to add to it. It's saying it's there twice. So that's the command we need, this command here. But we're not going to put it in moo.txt, we're obviously going to put it in. The reason why we can't do this immediately right now is because we have not got rights to write into that file, permission denied. But the build script is running as root, and so that will have the rights to do it. Okay. So our build script, let's take a look. we're going to go into downloads, src, and then we're going to edit the build script. And what we're going to do is put our line in here, and we're actually just going to kill the rest of the file. We don't need to do it. Save it as that. In 9 seconds, 8 seconds, it's going to run. So if we do cat you'll see our root 2 user's already, it's only just happened though. It's already there. So I should be able to su root 2, and the password was moo. Who am I? Roots. And then we cat the root.txt, and there is our final flag. So the thing is, in 30 seconds time, this line will be added once again to the file, and it'll be added again and again and again. It'll keep doing it. The way to stop that from happening and only have it there once is obviously to kill the server. And now it won't be able to fetch the build script anymore. So it won't be able to update it anymore. And that's the idea. Just get it in there once. And that's it really. You can see that before our thing, it just had James at the bottom. And then after it got our script and ran it, it has this new line. The password's in there. We know what the password is. And we were able to log in just like this. And therefore, we have managed to do Overpass without touching the password manager and without doing a reverse shell. Mission accomplished. Let's finish this off. So that took just under an hour. I'll terminate the box. We don't need the box running anymore. So we just need the user and the root flag. So the root flag I will throw in here. And the user flag can go in. Sure, I took a. There we go. Copy of it. You can go in there. Before I do this, let's just take a look at this hint. Curious. Do not brute force. Okay, so it's just telling me not to brute force the login form. That's fine. We didn't have to do that in the end. As much as this one is apparently easy, I found it a little bit trickier than I was expecting, just due to the fact that I had to recreate that build script and change the host file to point to my server and things like that. It's a little bit tricky. There was also that point getting access where we had to actually figure out what this code was doing. And I think looking over code and reading code and understanding what it's doing is quite important. But it's not something I put down as a beginner, like an easy box. I'd definitely put that into medium or hard. I quite like this system. I think it's really nice. It's certainly quite a fun one. Next time I may do Overpass 2 just so I can get that series done, and then we might do something insane because we've got something easy, we've got something medium, we've got three things which are hard. There's nothing yet in insane. It'd be quite nice to get one of those done. So next time Overpass 2, and then we'll do something crazy. Thank you for joining me, and be sure to visit nethemba.com for all your pen testing needs. Have a good day.